Now at 6 today, Sharp healthcare workers are taking to the picket line. What they are now demanding next.
I went in complete shock in the moment it happened. I heard him scream and I was like, oh no, this is terrible.
Plus at 6, a viral TikTok trend gone wrong. The warning from doctors. And at 6, it looks at where rent prices are finally decreasing here in San Diego County.
You're watching CBS 8 Mornings at 6.
Thank you so much for joining us here at 6 a.m. on this Wednesday. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Neda Irampour. Glad you're with us here. Maybe some of you are, now finding your routines,
Yes.
back to school and all.
Right.
It's a big week for many across San Diego. Let's check in on the forecast, of course. Meteorologist Evan Narani getting you ready for the day.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I decided to add ice to my coffee this morning,
Is it
treat
that kind of
myself
day?
a little bit.
Ooh.
I feel like I probably should have started months ago.
Yeah.
Right.
But now
70s
I'm just
outside
thinking,
right now.
literally right now it's 72 degrees.
72?
So, yeah. Overnight,
Whoa.
a lot of people open up the windows, try to let in some of the cooler air overnight. This is not one of the mornings where you're letting in much of that cooler air because we are mostly in the 70s out there. By the afternoon, we'll make it to the 80s along the coast, 90s inland for El Cajon. Julian going for a high of 85 and 107 out there for Borrego Springs. Even warmer in some cases into tomorrow. And then just a little bit of cooling for Friday, Saturday before we see more warm temperatures into next week. We'll take a look at that in the 7-day forecast coming up.
Evan, thank you so much for the update on that. And now the numbers are out. This just coming into our newsroom. The Bureau of Labor Statistics just dropped its latest consumer price index report. Good news to report here this morning. Inflation continued to cool in July. Consumer prices rose 2.9% last month on an annual basis. This is right in line with expectations from economists. This is the first time overall inflation measured on a year-over-year basis has come below 3% since March of 2021. This latest report means the Federal Reserve is on track to cut those interest rates at their meeting next month. We'll see how this impacts markets today.
We do have some new video just coming into our newsroom here. A driver somehow losing control as their car crashed into the lobby of the Sony headquarters building in Rancho Bernardo. This happened just after 2 this morning.
As you can see here, the glass is shattered. Look at that on the ground everywhere. That's a lot of glass. That's expensive. Not clear if anybody was seriously hurt in this or if anybody was even inside this Sony building at the time. Looks like a desk got pummeled there. We will update you as soon as we get any more information. And in just about an hour and a half from now, Sharp healthcare workers will picket right outside of Sharp Grossmont Hospital.
Yeah, it's one of the many demonstrations taking place at Sharp healthcare facilities across San Diego here this month. CBS 8's Regina Yarita is live in La Mesa now with more on what these healthcare workers want, what they're demanding here.
Yeah, good morning, Eric and Neda. And these are healthcare workers who are respiratory healthcare workers, patient readers, all who will be heading towards this direction to hit the picket lines. They're planning to go on strike for the next couple of weeks until they meet again with executives to really reach a tentative deal. But so far, they're on strike because of safety concerns and unfair wages that they say are driving the healthcare staffing crisis. Several nurses have argued that many of their coworkers are leaving the field because of the heavy workload and low pay. They add that many healthcare workers have no choice but to take additional jobs and work 6 or 7 days a week to make ends meet. So they're also calling attention to how Sharp healthcare executives have violated federal labor law. In recent months, they have filed several charges with the National Labor Relations Board against Sharp Healthcare for violating frontline workers' rights, retaliating against workers who support making improvements, and continuing to fail to bargain in good faith. But last week, Sharp responded saying they do not agree with the statements the union has released. In fact, they believe Sharp Healthcare is negotiating in good faith, adding that the union has delayed progress in negotiations by filing charges against Sharp with the National Labor Relations Board, 5 of which have been withdrawn and 3 dismissed by the NLRB. They also believe the union is causing further delays by engaging in regressive bargaining and introducing new topics that were not included in their original proposal. So back out here, we know that strike is expected to take place at 7:30. We're already seeing workers setting up to begin that strike. As far as concerns with patients, well, we were able to talk last week with managers, and they said that they're required to maintain mandated staff to patient ratio. That's latest here in La Mesa. Regina Urita, CBS 8.
Regina, thank you very much for the details on that. A new development now this morning. The union representing nurses at Rady Children's Hospital has now reached a tentative agreement, so a new contract for them. This comes less than a week before the nurses were set to strike for a second time this month. Union leaders describe it as the best contract offer in decades. The agreement still needs to go to the union membership for a ratification vote tomorrow. Negotiations have been ongoing. We've been reporting on this between the union and Rady Children's since May. Rady Children's Hospital released a statement to CBS 8 last night saying it is hopeful this tentative agreement will be ratified. We do have a big update this morning. Late last night, the Vista City Council voted to start enforcing its long-standing homeless encampment ban. So it bans camping within 2 blocks of a homeless shelter, 2 blocks of a school, and within 250 yards of a playground. This would give people living in encampments a 72-hour notice now. However, they will be cleared immediately if that encampment poses a health or safety risk.
This morning, the Cajon Valley Union School District moving forward with a policy that would notify parents if their child's gender identity changes. The broader policy aims to give parents a bigger role in their child's education. For example, parents would be allowed to give input on the materials students are reading. But also under the policy, if a student is under 12 years old, their parents will be notified if that student requests to change their gender identification or name. The district board unanimously passed it last night, but a teacher we talked to from the district thinks this is illegal.
It appears that the school board wants to, have us communicate this information where we might be violating privacy or student safety. And it's patently illegal based on a bill that was just recently passed, which prohibits everything the school board's trying to enact in this clause.
Last month, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill banning districts from enacting rules that would notify parents about their child's gender identity changing. Newsom's spokesperson has said this law will prevent students from being outed. This morning, we're hearing concerns from people living near the Otay landfill in Chula Vista. They say the rapidly growing landfill is posing risks to the environment and public health. People say the smell of trash has gotten much worse in recent months, and the landfill is now growing beyond the hill it's on.
How high is this thing going to go? And we've noticed that that coincides with the crisis of air pollution that we have right now here in Chula Vista because of the TJ River and also this.
Residents are also worried about contamination through the soil. They have reached out to the California Environmental Protection Agency and have started a petition calling on local leaders to step in.
Signs of a big population on both sides of the border. All right, it is 6:07 and looks a little foggy.
A little
out there.
hazy out there, a little foggy. Yeah, patchy fog as we're starting off the morning just along the coastline. And then we see that by the time we get to mid-morning, closer to about 8, 9, 10 a.m., we see those clouds pull back and we offer up some sunshine for the afternoon stretch across the coast. So you see where those clouds are right now as we head through our morning. In fact, the morning commute could be a little hazy for San Diego all the way through the international border. There have been some reports of fog up around the Carlsbad area too. So watch out for that as you head out for the morning commute. But that's all we're looking at. Those areas of white on the screen are where we see the majority of that fog. San Miguel is actually looking really nice when we face south. And usually if we have morning where the marine layer stretches all the way to the western slopes of the mountains, you're able to make out a pretty cloudy start to the morning. That is not the case here. You're actually able to see quite well down to the bottom of your screen. Taking a look at some of your headlines through the next couple days. Mild for this midweek stretch. We have some slight warming as we get into the weekend. Monsoonal moisture returns for the weekend into early next week, which brings about some cloud cover for the mountains and maybe some showers as well. It'll also feel a bit muggy at times. Some coastal clouds each morning and night. That's the marine layer that we're talking about there. 64 for Oceanside currently, right now out there. 66 in Carlsbad, 71 in downtown San Diego, and 63 in El Cajon. 10-day temperature trend shows a little bit of cooling going into Friday through Sunday, and then we warm up by the beginning of next week. Looking at traffic this morning, there's one spot to take you to. There's a bumper in the number 4 lane on the Birmingham Drive exit of the 5 northbound. Back to you. Oh, let's take a look at border wait times out the door. 80-minute wait at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. Otay Mesa Port of Entry, 90 minutes.